What are the components of ship-to-shore communication? First is communication system. Second is navigational and operational data. Third is information management systems. Fourth is protocols and standards. Fifth is security measures. And last one is human resources.
Good day everyone. So my name is Decadent Dibdib and Ivan, and I'm gonna answer a question about ship-to-shore communication. So the question is, how does ship-to-shore communication contribute to the safety and efficiency of cargo handling? So ship-to-shore communication plays a crucial role in ensuring the safe and efficient handling of cargo. So here's how. So number one is safety, coordination of operations. So clear communication between the ship's crew and shore-based personnel is essential for coordinating vessel movements, berthing, and cargo handling operations. The second one is during emergency response in case of emergencies, such as fire, spills, or medical situations. The third one is medical weather information. So the ships receive weather updates and forecasts from shore stations, allowing them to adjust their course and speed to avoid hazardous conditions and ensuring the safety of the crew and cargo. And also we have efficiency. This is to improve delays and optimize cargo handling and improve logistics. Also, the methods of communication such as VHF radio, satellite communications, and other types of communication devices. So that's it.
What technologies or systems are typically used for ship-to-shore communication? Ship-to-shore communication typically relies on several key technologies and systems including, first, satellite communication. Satellite communication provides global coverage and is essential for ships operating in remote areas where other forms of communication are not available. Second, VHF radio, used for short-range communication, primarily for safety and operational coordination within coastal areas and during port operations. Third, medium frequency and high frequency. Radios are used for long-range communication, especially when out of reach of VHF signals. Fourth, Inmarsat and Iridium systems. Specialized satellite systems like Inmarsat and Iridium offer voice and data services for maritime communication. Fifth, GMDSS or Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, a comprehensive system that integrates various communication technologies to enhance safety at sea, including distress alerts and safety information. And lastly, cellular networks, used in coastal areas where cellular coverage is available, providing high-speed data and voice communication. These technologies ensures reliable communication between ship and shore-based facilities for operational safety and administrative purposes.
Number 4 is, what are preloading checks and why are they crucial in the context of general cargoes? Preloading checks are a series of inspections and assessment carried out before cargo is loaded onto a vessel, aircraft, or other transportation means. These checks ensure that the cargo vessel equipment and documentation meet the required standards and safety regulations in the context of general cargoes. Preloading checks are crucial for several reasons. First is safety on the vessel and crew. Second is cargo condition. Third is proper stowage and stability. The fourth one is compliance with regulations. The fifth is preventing delays. Sixth is documentation accuracy. And the last one is equipment readiness.
5. How does effective communication facilitate these pre-loading checks? So, effective communication, it ensures that everyone is involved in pre-loading checks, such as system or equipment checks before proceeding the process, enable to clear about their task, expectations, and timing. So, effective communication, it helps to share accurate information quickly so that there will be no details are missed. Second, to clarify roles and responsibilities so everyone knows what to check. Third, resolving any issues or misunderstanding immediately. And last is to coordinate efforts, making sure that everyone is on the same page so that there will be or to avoid delays or mistakes. So in short, good communication helps things run smoothly, reducing errors and improving efficient during the checks.
Hello, I'm the Cadet Virad and I will be answering the question number 6. What safety measures are typically implemented during transit and unloading operations of dangerous cargoes? Well, during transit and unloading of dangerous cargoes, safety measures typically include the use of specialized containers, proper labeling, and adherence to strict handling protocols to prevent leaks or spills. Additionally, emergency response plans and safety equipment are kept readily available to address any incidents that may arise. Thank you.
How do these safety measures mitigate the risk associated with the carriage of dangerous cargoes? Safety measures for the carriage of dangerous cargoes are designed to mitigate risk in several ways. Regulations and standards, proper packaging, labeling and marking, training personnel, monitoring and tracking, emergency, regular inspection. These measures work together to minimize the risk associated with transporting dangerous cargoes and to protect people, property, and the environment.
Number 8. Can you provide examples of an incident that could occur if these safety measures are not followed? Number 1. Collision with other vessel or structure. Number 2. Grounding of the vessel. Number 3. Miscommunication during emergency condition. Number 4. Delayed response to dangerous weather conditions. Number 5. Failure in cargo operation. Number 6. Piracy or security incident. Number 7. Incorrect navigation information. Number 8. Environment incidents. In all these cases, effective communication between the ship and shore is vital to ensuring the safe maritime operations.
So, question number 9 of ship-to-shore communication. What are the international standards and codes for the carriage of dangerous goods? International standards and codes for the carriage of dangerous cargoes are designed to ensure safety during the transport of hazardous materials, including International Maritime Dangerous Goods or IMDG codes, International Air Transport Association or IATA Dangerous Goods regulations, European Agreement concerning the international carriage of dangerous goods by road, and last are United Nations Recommendation of Dangerous Goods or UN Model Regulation.
How do these standards and codes enhance the safety and efficiency of dangerous cargo operations? First, risk mitigation. Second, consistency and compliance. Third, proper packaging and labeling. Fourth, training and certification. Fifth, emergency response protocol. Sixth, environmental protection. By the following of these standards and codes, organization can ensure not only regulatory compliance but also safety and efficiency of their operations.
So, good evening. I'm Christian Dino Chavez ako, and this is the ship-to-shore communication. Question number 11. What are the consequences of not adhering to these international standards and codes? Not adhering to international standards and codes can lead to several consequences, including to legal and regulatory penalties, safety risk, reputational damage, market access limitations, increased cost, and legal liabilities. Thank you. So, ship-to-shore communication, question number 12. How are these standards and codes enforced at an international level? Answer. Enforcement of international standards and codes for the carriage of dangerous cargoes is managed through a combination of regulatory frameworks, international cooperations, and national legislations. Here's how enforcement typically work. International agreement and treaties, national legislations, certification and trainings, inspections and audits, international collaborations, and reporting and accidents management.